Johnny Depp, Part 4, Narcissist or Empath. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing a detailed examination from a wealth of sources about Johnny Depp to make a determination as to what he is. We turn to the issue of the Viper Room. The Viper Room is a nightclub and live music venue located on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, California. It was established as the Viper Room in 1993 and was partly owned by Johnny Depp. The other part owner was Sal Genco, who starred in 21 Jump Street with Depp. The club became known for being a hangout of the young Hollywood elite and was the site where actor River Phoenix died of a drug overdose on the night before Halloween in 1993. Depp, Phoenix and Keanu Reeves were very close friends, the alternative Brat Pack. Depp acquired a taste for the grandiose life along the way. He bought the Viper Room in the early 1990s. It was an old speakeasy once frequented by Bugsy Siegel and turned it into a small rock club where everyone from Guns N' Roses to Johnny Cash played. Depp suffered through the death of his friend River Phoenix, Phoenix dying from an overdose at the club. There were wild claims in the supermarket rags that Depp had delivered the fatal dose to Phoenix himself. "Imagine living with that," said Depp when he was interviewed by Rolling Stone in 2018, and his eyes reportedly clouded over. That suggests emotional empathy for the death of his friend, the reaction that was recorded in that Rolling Stone interview. In early 1995, Australian singer and actor Jason Donovan suffered a drug-induced seizure at the club and survived. In November 1997, Australian rock star Michael Hutchence played his last public performance in the Viper Room a week before his suicide. As part of the settlement of a lawsuit involving the disappearance of co-owner Anthony Fox in December 2001, Depp relinquished his ownership of the Viper Room in 2004. This, of course, was a hedonistic hangout for Depp and supports a suggestion of strong narcissistic traits. As an actor, we expect to see strong narcissistic traits of showmanship, pride, and vanity. Leading a hedonistic lifestyle suggests a lack of accountability for behaviours, a lack of accountability for behaving in a particular way. It demonstrates a strong narcissistic trait of selfishness also. However, the reaction to the death of his friend River Phoenix, suggests that there might be emotional empathy there, or might it have been the expression of cognitive empathy in the Rolling Stone interview to assert control over the interviewer? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. We now turn to the issue of romantic relationships. Romantic relationships are a very important indicator with regard to making a determination of what a person is. It can be a place where there is clear demonstration of emotional empathy through the expression of genuine love, compassion, patience, respect, tolerance, support, and other factors besides which evidence emotional empathy. It also can demonstrate narcissistic traits, selfishness, infidelity, argumentativeness, and, of course, abusive behaviours. There are many narcissists who are, of course, street angel and house devil, operating a facade to the outside world that remains wholly intact, whilst behind closed doors, subjecting the intimate partner primary source, and quite possibly non-intimate secondary source children, to a hellish existence. There are other narcissists that operate a facade that occasionally one gets a peep and through as it cracks and fractures. And then, of course, there are other narcissists that don't operate a facade at all. The intimate romantic relationship and the recollections of the other party are instrumental in aiding us determine what this person might be. The first romantic relationship of note was Laurie and Allison. Long before establishing himself as a 90s heartthrob, Johnny Depp had found love and married. In fact, his first wife, makeup artist Laurie Ann Allison, is widely credited for being the catalyst for his superstardom. During his late teens, Depp had dropped out of high school in Florida, as mentioned earlier, and joined a band called Kids. Allison was reportedly the sister of one of his bandmates, and a few years senior to Depp. They met and ultimately tied the knot in 1983 when Depp was just 20. Now, an early marriage at such a young age is a potential indicator of narcissism in terms of a need to assert control by getting married at an early juncture. It's not determinative, but merely an indicator. The couple relocated to Los Angeles in pursuit of a better life, where, as mentioned, Allison introduced Depp to her actor friend, Nicolas Cage. In an interview, Cage revealed that Depp at the time was selling pens or something to get by. It was during a game of Monopoly that Cage told Depp, "I think you can act." He sent Depp onward to his agent, which helped him land an audition for A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was his screen debut in 1984. Though their marriage ended in 1985, Allison and Depp remain friends to this day. A portrait of the 58-year-old star from his younger days still hangs amongst the wall collage in Allison's home. In 2016, Allison came out in Depp's support amid his turbulent divorce from Amber Heard, saying he was a soft person who never laid a hand on her. This is important evidence. The fact that they remain friends shows an accountability towards one another, notwithstanding the ending of the relationship. Now, often, a narcissist will maintain contact with an ex for the purpose of assertion of control, a lack of accountability towards other relationships, and acting out of a sense of entitlement. But it is not always indicative. There will be instances where a couple are able to divorce amicably and they remain in contact periodically thereafter, or they do not, but when they do meet up, they get along well. It might be the latter instance here, that for whatever reason the marriage did not work, not because either party was abusive, and they decided that it was appropriate for them to go their separate ways, but there was no animosity arising from it. It's unusual, but it does happen. If you'd like to understand more about this, watch my video, Why is Divorce So Hard? It's telling that Laurie Allison says that he was a soft person who never laid a hand on her. Given that their marriage ended some 30 years prior to the allegations, there would be little served for her in defending Depp. I suspect that she was not receiving any money from him, that they had parted their ways and it would have been a clean break settlement. And therefore she wouldn't be motivated by some kind of bias towards Depp to defend him unnecessarily. And indeed, given the prevailing culture of #MeToo, there was a bandwagon to be jumped upon if there was an opportunity for her to allege that he was abusive. She did not, and therefore it's credible that in their relationship he was indeed a soft person who never laid a hand on her. Might it be that he, perhaps as a narcissist, was able to maintain a relationship with her for 2 years without showing a dark side? It's possible, but highly unlikely. The golden period between a narcissist and intimate partner primary source tends to last between 6 to 18 months. It could, at a stretch, go to 2 years, but given other aspects of Johnny Depp's character, which we will come to in due course, it's more likely that in actual fact that he was able to maintain a non-turbulent relationship with her. And in the circumstances, it was not one that was marked by abuse, and that her confirmation that he was a soft person and that he was not abusive certainly appears to be credible. The next relationship he had of note was with Sherilyn Fenn. During the 1980s, with roles in films like Private Resort and Platoon, Johnny Depp had begun making his way into the hearts of many women. Among them was fellow actor Sherilyn Fenn, who ultimately attained colossal fame for her notorious Audrey Horne character on the television series Twin Peaks. Depp and Fenn met while shooting Dummies, a 7-minute short film that released in 1985, and went on to date for almost 3 years. The pair collaborated again in 1987 on an episode of 21 Jump Street, the hit series that skyrocketed Depp to global fame as a teen idol. Depp and Fenn were together until 1988, with certain reports indicating that the two were even briefly engaged. Decades have passed since that romance ended, but Fenn has continued speaking fondly of her ex. "He was my first love," she told The Big Issue in 2017. "Finding your first love is an important part of everyone's life. With Johnny, it helped me, because as a young woman for the first time, I had found real love. I know him as a human, not a movie star." Active on social media, Fenn hasn't shied away from expressing support for Depp in his court battle with Amber Heard. Sharing a photo of Depp from Platoon in a scene where he has her name etched on his helmet, she wrote on Instagram, #IStandWithJohnny, then and now and forever. Again, another long-term relationship, albeit 3 or so years, but it's not a one-night stand by any stretch of the imagination, and one where there are no allegations of abuse. She speaks fondly of him and of a relationship, of course, that took place over 30 years ago. Once again, as is similar with the situation with his first wife, there would be no reason for her to come out in support of him in terms of financial support, etc. Indeed, there might be an opportunity to bandwagon, but that hasn't happened. And it would appear that Sharon and Fenn's evidence that it was a good relationship, that it wasn't an abusive relationship, is credible. Again, we pose the question, might it be, if Depp is a narcissist, that he could maintain a golden period for some 3 years or so? Again, highly unlikely. And therefore, we already have 2 relationships which don't show a pattern of abuse. Now, it has to be borne in mind that some narcissists may not be actively engaging in obvious abusive behaviours. There is such thing as the Stepford devaluation. Watch my video about that, where essentially the narcissist treats the intimate partner primary source well, perhaps occasionally falling silent, occasional instances of haughtiness, but not something that would be equating to habitual abuse, but meanwhile is smearing that spouse elsewhere, but the spouse never learns of it, and is running around like a dog with 6 dicks, engaging in serial acts of infidelity. There's no evidence that's been put forward that that was the case, but one has to keep in mind that some narcissists are capable of maintaining what looks like a golden period for a longer period of time, but in actual fact, the intimate partner primary source has found themselves within a sustained devaluation, but they don't actually realise it because it's taking place in effect elsewhere. It's worth making that point to keep that in consideration as we consider the evidence. But here, 2 powerful pieces of evidence which might suggest that Depp is not an abuser, given that these 2 relationships that he's had don't mention any abuse whatsoever and have come out in support with him at a later juncture. We continue the examination of Johnny Depp's personal relationships in Part 5. Join me there.